note written by a 15-year-old boy who crashed a Cessna into a Tampa office building indicated he supported Osama bin Laden and that the act was deliberate, according to authorities. Now, this is a 15-year-old kid. He might have been depressed. He might have been, well, he might have been. He most probably was, going through a personal angst fairly typical of 15-year-olds that he took to a suicidal extent. Maybe, that's just speculation on my part, and maybe I shouldn't be speculating, but I mean, that's my opinion, and I'm sure that, I bet you money this guy wasn't some huge supporter of Osama bin Laden. It probably has no significance at all other than the fact the kid was depressed. But if you didn't hear the story, it was a 15-year-old kid who crashed a Cessna into a Tampa office building over the weekend. And we wanted to bring Art Griego on. He's over at the Wing Club in Santa Monica right now. Art, how are you? And thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, Phil.
So what I just said about this 15-year-old kid, does that make sense?
Well, I don't want to comment really, Phil, directly on what happened to him, but I can comment on pilots and on flyers, and I've flown for 26 years. I'm a former commercial pilot. I own a private plane now, and the plain fact is flying is a very nerve-wracking thing, and I think if anything any pilot goes through, whether he crashes or he doesn't crash, it's nerve-wracking. It is.
You mean it's a nervous experience?
It's about as nerve-wracking for as nerve-wracking as it is for a passenger, it's doubly so for a pilot.
Well, this 15-year-old boy who crashed the Cessna into the Tampa office building, no doubt there is nerves involved there.
Well, you get up there, and you try and keep your nerves calm. I don't know what happened to this kid, but I think what most of the time is happening with pilots who fly their planes into structures, into fixed structures, you get up there, you try and keep your nerves calm, but there are those moments when the reality of the situation kicks in, and that's what we call World War II pilots used to describe it as gremlins. And
I'm sorry, excuse me, gremlins?
What we call a gremlin on my mind. And it's very common for you to suddenly get up there and experience a level of anxiety and fear when you suddenly look out the window and realize what it is you're doing. You're up in the air. There's nothing holding you up. You're in an 8-ton tin can, and you realize I may be flying, but what's making me stay up in the air? And you panic, and the first thing you do is you consider taking your own life. That's how fearful, Phil, it can be.
Now, wait a minute. You're a pilot, and you're flying, and you consider flying your plane into a building because you're afraid?
That is how extreme. The fear is so overwhelming, and the natural thing to do is to look around for a building or any tall structure and just steer the aircraft into it.
We're talking with Art Griego. He's a former commercial pilot, now a private pilot, about the events in Tampa over the weekend. You're not saying, you don't want to comment on this 15-year-old kid, but you're saying that a pilot who flies his plane into a building has taken his own life on purpose?
I'm telling you, I don't know specifically about any situation. I'm telling you what I've experienced, what other pilots I know have experienced. Every pilot, at least once during every flight, contemplates taking his own life because if he goes into the gremlin on my mind panic. And gremlin on my mind means that the gremlins, in World War II, the old World War II pilots used to see gremlins out on the wing.
Yes, I'm familiar with that. Is that what the Twilight Zone episode was based on?
That's what it was. And suddenly you panic because you're afraid the plane's going to crash. What happens nowadays is pilots suddenly start thinking, I'm up in the air. What? Oh, my God. They'll look out. They'll see there's nothing under the plane. How is this plane doing this? And the fear is so extreme. The first tall structure you see, you want to fly right into it.
Are you saying once in every flight?
I'm on average, not every single flight, but on average, you always keep that option. It's as crazy as it is, you keep the option open. I would rather fly into a hillside than have to contemplate what's making this plane stay up in the air.
1-800-449-8686. Art Griego, a private pilot and former commercial pilot, talking about what would cause any pilot to willingly fly an aircraft into any fixed structure. Our number is 1-800-449-8686. You flew commercially. Was it common then for you?
When I flew commercially, it was very common during an L.A. to New York run, for instance, Phil. to get You've heard of streamlined. We used to call it getting gremlined or gremlined. And you'd be out over the Rockies, and you suddenly start thinking about what is it you're doing. And right at that moment, you'd rather take your chances crash landing in the Rockies. And if it's another one of those soccer team deals, that's so be it. And that's what you're thinking about.
Now, when you say another one of those soccer team deals, you're talking about what?
About the
crash in the Andes.
That is correct.
There was a plane crash in the Andes where members of a soccer team were found alive.
Well, you say found alive. Yeah, it was after they ate one of their teammates. But
Well, I know the story, but the fact is, you're saying that pilots would consider crashing their plane into the Rockies and taking their chances with cannibalizing each other rather than continue a flight.
That is how extreme the fear gets, yeah. And that happens to every pilot. Now, what happened to this 15-year-old kid? I don't know. Let's speculate. Let's say he was up in the air taking a joyride in an aircraft that he had just appropriated or absconded with at the airport. Let's say suddenly he's flying around some high structures, and it dawns on him, oh my God, what's keeping this plane up in the air? It's a panic situation. And the fear is so extreme, he looks over, sees a building, and says, the hell with it, and turns it right into the building.
It can happen that quick.
It can happen that quick. The older or younger, the more susceptible the pilot is. The older a pilot is, Phil, his mind or his memory is beginning to go, and he may forget what makes an airplane fly. So a older pilot might be up there. And
wait a minute. How old are you talking? You got a pilot up in the air who's a senior citizen?
A senior citizen, yeah. And he may have a deteriorating memory, and he may suddenly think, well, how is it that a plane flies? I can't remember. And then he'll want to kill himself. The same thing goes with...
And what about the younger ones?
The younger ones, the memory is not as fresh in them either. So, look, something very tragic happened, Phil, a few years back. That little girl crashed. If you don't believe me, do you remember the story, Jessica Dubroff?
Yeah, that was the 7-year-old with her father.
Right, that was trying to go around the world. She goes from just finishing going doo-doo by herself, and now they want her to fly an aircraft. Now, that is nuts. Everybody knows a kid is going to forget what makes a plane fly quicker than an older pilot. It was natural for her to want to just crash the plane rather than live with the uncertainty of not knowing what makes a plane go up in the air. Now,
wait a minute. Jessica Dubroff was the little 7-year-old who that was an accident.
Okay.
You're telling me she did it on purpose?
I'm saying that it's possible she did it on purpose, not knowing what makes a plane fly and panicking. See, that's what I'm saying. See, everybody forgets that.
Well, I do remember the story, and it was very tragic. That was 5 years ago this past spring. She was attempting around the world or something.
That's right, with her father. And she's 7 years old. The plane takes off. She goes, how come the plane go up in air? Bang, takes it right down, crashes it, because she doesn't know. And I feel I tried to impanel this spring.
How come plane go up in air?
No, I don't know why she'd say that.
What's going on this spring? I know there was a seminar you wanted to do.
I tried to impanel a seminar with some top pilots to discuss whether or not we shouldn't just leave flying to the birds and return to earthbound transportation. At least let the passengers know when they board the plane by way of a leaflet that the pilot is frightened and there's the possibility that the plane will fly into a fixed freestanding structure. They didn't want me to have this seminar. Why? Because they said I was mentally disturbed. And this is what the government does when they want to keep information from people. So otherwise, the passengers, I'm sure, would not be resting too easy back there.
All right, Art Griego is with us with some information about flying. Pilots, private pilots, commercial pilots experience something called gremlin on my mind, which is when you suddenly have an anxiety attack about what makes a plane fly, and you purposefully fly it into a building or a freestanding fixed structure, as they say. Is that what happened with that Tampa, Florida kid? Do pilots fly their planes into hillsides or into silos because they suddenly are frightened that they don't know what's making them stay up in the air? Our number is 1-800-449-8686. Art Griego, a 26-year veteran of flight. 1-800-449-8686. Phil Hendrie Show.
And now more on The Phil Hendry Show.
15-year-old boy flew a Cessna into a building in Tampa. According to Art Griego, he's a former commercial pilot. You're not saying that this was the case with this kid in Tampa, but sometimes pilots get so full of anxiety about what makes a plane fly?
That is correct, yes, Phil.
That they will purposefully ditch it or fly it into a freestanding structure, as you put it?
Yeah, the anxiety is such that a pilot... look, Phil, I flew for 26 years, and I can tell you that there isn't a pilot out there that doesn't, at least a few times during the course of a year, look around and say, you know, I mean, it's crazy, but you'll say, how the hell am I doing this? Look at the planes up in the air. And
don't they know about lift? Don't they know about...
Yeah, well, intellectually, yeah, but when you get up there, you're like, Jesus, God help me. God help me. That's all you can think. I'll tell you what. As you bring a plane in to land, it is common for a pilot, as the plane is coming in, and probably not more than I'd say 50 feet off the ground, for the pilot to just want to put his hands over his eyes.
You're kidding.
No, I am not.
Put his hands over his eyes. Why? Because
he can't believe that he's going to land this plane.
Good God.
I know. That's how nuts it is. That's how much anxiety is flying through the cockpit.
1-800-449-8686. Art Griego, former commercial pilot, with some revelations, I guess, about flying. Here is Sheila on the Phil Hendry Show. Sheila?
I'm here.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Art, my God, why did you ever become a pilot? We trust these people that are transporting us all over the world, and it's like if you didn't have the confidence to know that you were going to take care of the people.
No, this is common among all pilots. Sheila, I don't know what you know about it, but all pilots go through this level of anxiety.
Okay, well, when they reach that level of anxiety, to me, that's a point to where they need to think about their career, a career move.
Well, okay, great.
Because
anything else?
All the pilots
tell me something that I don't know, Sheila. Okay.
Sir?
Tell me something I don't know. I mean, you got 300 passengers in a tin bird, 3,000 feet in the air. Jesus Christ! I mean, that's enough to. You're gonna lose your mud.
Okay. Well, all I know is the pilots that I know.
The pilots that you know.
They are trained.
It's one thing knowing a pilot, and it's another thing being one.
Well, I understand that, but they're trained over the years to have confidence. And, I mean, it's when all these crashes that have been going on, that's one thing that they will not do is they don't want to crash into a populated area.
Well, Sheila, until you've actually been a pilot, all bets are off on that.
So until you've actually been a pilot, you don't know how pilots feel. I mean, what do you mean when they're coming in for a landing?
Pilots many are so insecure about landing an aircraft, it's common for them to say, "Oh, please, God help me," just before the plane touches down.
Well, that's a normal response.
One hand over your eyes and the other hand on the yoke.
Well, I understand. I think that's a normal response, but
of course,
I tell you what,
of course.
I don't
Then you
see
understand.
anybody...
You understand that a pilot is going to want to logically put his hands over his eyes because you're thinking, "Dear God, help me! Am I going to be able to land this?"
On a commercial flight, as I'm coming in for a landing on any one of my flights,
it's possible that when you are
like when my wife and I flew to New York recently.
The pilot might have put his hands over his eyes.
As he was landing there at Newark.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
That is the craziest thing.
Ma'am, I am telling you, if you're not a pilot, then I don't know why I'm wasting my time.
Okay, well, let me tell you, Art.
I'm landing at Newark, and as we're coming in, the pilot goes, "Oh, my dear God, help me," and puts his hands over his eyes.
Yes, for a couple of seconds, yes. And then regains his confidence, and he's back.
All right, 1-800-449-8686. Do you know how scary that is for me to hear that?
Well, I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying that I did.
You did?
Yes, and a lot of the guys I flew with, yeah.
Here is Kevin on the Phil Hendry Show. Kevin?
Hi, how you doing?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'd like to talk to Mr. Griego. I don't know where he's been flying airplanes, but he's an absolute lunatic. I've been a military pilot and a commercial pilot for over 15 years.
All right, well, I'm just saying that pilots are filled with fear.
I think he's wrong. I've been flying airplanes for 15 years, and we don't wonder what makes airplanes fly. And
You
we don't
don't, maybe.
Our eyes just
You
before
don't.
we land.
You don't.
And I've
Okay.
trained.
I know
I've trained
pilots. I know when I'm a
dozens-
passenger on a flight. I know when I'm a passenger on a flight and we fly over a national landmark.
You don't know what you're
that
talking about.
We are
You're
a rat hair
lunatic.
away from taking that thing down.
You don't know what you're talking
I
about.
don't. Maybe you don't fear it, but a lot of the guys that I flew with.
I don't know.
Who are the guys that you flew with?
A lot of guys
a
that
lot
had
of military
combat.
pilots.
A lot of
and
guys
they
that
have-
were shell shocked. I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Wait. You said you flew with a lot of guys that were what?
Battle fatigue.
Guys that were washed out because they were wacko?
I didn't say that, did I? I said that I flew with a lot of guys that had a few problems.
Here is Ted on the Phil Hendry Show. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm a tractor driver, a tractor trailer driver. That's what I do for a living.
Oh, there you go. That qualifies you to talk about flying.
No, let me speak.
That's
let me
perfect.
get my piece out once. Okay, I have a lot of people's lives in my hands. Maybe not 300 at a time.
But about 300 pigs,
when
I'm sure.
When I'm hauling 30 tons.
30
of
tons
grain,
of cow.
Will you let him say something, okay?
Yeah.
Well, what's he
If I'm
hauling? 300 head of steer? I'm hauling people.
If I'm going
Let the
down
guy-
the highway and I'm carrying, 30,000 pounds or whatever, and I'm driving 70 miles an hour,
And you
it's
suddenly
never,
don't know
ever,
what makes the
ever.
truck go forward.
Can I please speak?
Let the man finish, okay?
Go ahead.
Okay, I've never, ever, I've been doing it 18 years. I've never contemplated running into somebody or taking my own life or killing kind of people because I'm a professional.
That's because
what I do for
manure,
a
when
living.
you flip your truck, manure doesn't die. All right?
When I flip my truck, I could kill
little
100
moo cow
people.
creamers don't die when you flip your truck. But people in my aircraft can die. And
You
so,
should have never been a pilot if you ever had that doubt in your mind. You
but
have
that
people's
may
lives
be.
in your hands.
That may be, but I know if I'm driving a truck, I know that if I flip it, the tires that I'm carrying aren't going to die.
You
And so-
don't know listening to me. If I'm on the highway, if I'm on the Florida Turnpike in rush hour traffic, and I decided to just veer off one way or the other, I could kill 50 people easily.
That's nothing
Easily.
near 300.
How can
Oh.
you even measure 50, 100, 60, 70?
Obviously, there's more people related to 300 people than there are 50. That translates into more in terms of insurance dollars.
Will you listen to what this man is saying? The loss of human life is the loss of human life.
You
If
can't
you're in a
count
plane,
on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You can't say when you're behind the wheel of an 18-wheeler and you see an old lady with a walker that you don't think about taking her down.
I have never thought of that. Never in my life.
What a lie.
Oh,
No,
come
I'm
on,
not
maybe
a
you
liar.
would.
Well,
And I'm not a real
you know.
religious person or anything like that. But I think if I wasn't 100% secure with what I did, I wouldn't do it. I'd find something else. I wouldn't ever doubt it. I'd go to something else right away. I'd find something else to do.
What
and
is
I
the
think
anxiety?
A pilot,
What is the
I think
anxiety? Well, I just want to ask Ted for a minute.
Yeah.
I want to ask Art. What is the anxiety that you feel when you're up there?
You just think, oh, how come God's letting me fly when only birds do it? Oh,
I would
now
think
you're
a
laughing at
pilot
me.
would have so much training. So much
You do.
training.
You have tons of training. I know how to take it off. I know how to land it. But still, when I'm landing, I want to just for a split second put both hands over each eye and just open my fingers and take a peek out.
Oh, that's crazy.
That is nuts, man.
That's
I
ludicrous.
know. Yes, it is.
There, you should never fly, and you should have never flown.
Have you
If
ever
it's
taken
that
your
bad.
Have you ever taken your hands off the wheel of your truck to light a cigarette?
Never.
Not
Never.
even to light a cigarette.
Never. Not once.
Not to take a sip of a beer.
Not once. Not once.
Mr. Hendry,
when
how
I
about
drive,
you?
I pay attention.
Well, probably
100%.
to drink a beer. I mean, no, I never have.
Huh?
All right. Thanks, Ted. 1-800-449-8686. Some pilots don't know what makes the plane fly, and they consider just flying it right into a building. 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendry Show. With Art Griego, he's a former commercial pilot. In a moment, he's going to tell us about having the anxiety called gremlin on my mind and what would make a commercial pilot or a private pilot want to fly his plane into a grain silo. Here is Ellen on the Phil Hendry Show. Ellen?
Hi. I'd like
Yes.
to speak to Mr. Griego about that.
Yes, ma'am. This is Art Griego.
Sir, I think you're a screwball, an A1 screwball. And I've never in my
Well-
life heard of such ridiculous comment.
What?
What if we all said that about people who drive in a car?
It's different because with a plane, it goes way, way down to the ground and blows up. A car can just
Oh,
stall.
come on. You're cuckoo. You know why you
How am I
had
cuckoo?
experiences?
If a car
Because
stalls on the side of the road, it
Excuse
doesn't
me.
blow up. If a
Excuse
plane
me.
stalls, it goes.
Excuse me.
And then you don't see your grandkids in the Northeast.
You have hung around people you admitted that had problems, and that is the
That's
reason
right.
that
You did, Mr. Griego. You said that the pilots you have flown with had battle fatigue.
All right, a couple
and
of them
these
like.
are nuts.
Oh, so
These
in other
are
words, a
people
guy's
that
not
have
allowed to.
become cuckoo for
A guy's
while.
not allowed to take a drink. Is that it?
What?
Are you telling me a man's not allowed to have a drink?
Flying on a plane?
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to say? Well,
Oh, wait a minute,
whoever gave you your license,
So the only ones that get the drink are the
should be
passengers.
arrested. Whoever gave you your license should be as guilty as you are.
Why? Because of the fact. Why? If you fly
screwball, sir. You're a real screwball.
Lady, you're not a pilot. You don't know.
Wait a minute.
Screwball.
What are you saying the pilots drink?
The ones I flew with. Oh, so the passengers are the only ones that get to have a cocktail.
Were you ever on drugs,
Huh?
Mr. Griego? Were you ever on drugs?
Which kind?
Coke? Anything like that?
I wouldn't mind
you
popping a party
don't
on a flight.
sound-
When I
you're
partied
not
with flight
100%.
attendants. When I partied with some flight attendants, yeah.
You know what? You're definitely not 100%. I really mean it.
And all of
you
a
got
sudden,
a problem.
what
you
are
belong
you,
in the loony bin.
What are you, the FAA? All of a sudden. So all of a sudden
What was
now
that?
you're telling. What are you, the FAA? You're telling me who's fit to fly and who isn't?
You
Ellen,
are an A1 screwball.
Look, Ellen, let me ask you
one.
a question. When you were on the beach with the Wright brothers and they were flying that plane, weren't you afraid for them?
You know, you got a problem.
Oh,
I
you're
don't
a
wanna,
real smartass,
you got
huh?
a real,
No,
you're
I just wanna
a
know
nut.
when she
You're a
saw
nut
the-
with a capital N. You're a nut, and
It's spelled-
and it's an insult to every other pilot
Ellen,
who really knows what they're doing.
Nut is spelled N-U-T, not M-U-T.
Well,
capital
you're both.
M.
You're a nut
She
and a
said
mutt.
a nut.
She said mutt.
I
She
said
said
nut.
a nut.
No, she
Nut.
didn't.
You don't.
You can't even
Apparently,
spell,
you don't hear well.
Apparently, you can't spell nut. It's
N-U-T. We heard what she said.
She won't answer my question.
You not only have a problem with your brain, but you have a problem with your hearing.
Ellen,
That's why you had a problem up there in the plane.
when the Wright brothers launched their plane on that beach, where were you?
Where was I? Probably in my mother's belly.
I don't get it.
She wasn't born yet.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, come on, mister. Get into a loony bin. You're a screwball. You hear me?
look at if
You're
I
an-
had
you're
you.
an
Let me
insult.
tell you something,
You're
Ellen.
an
If you were a passenger on
You
one of
are
my
an
planes,
insult.
I'd have you restrained.
You
would
should
have
be
you
restrained.
restrained with duct tape.
No, you should have
Yes,
been
I would.
restrained against. You should not have been in that pilot's chair. You should have been
It's called the
restrained.
cockpit, not a pilot's chair.
Whatever it is,
All
you
right,
should not
thank
have
you
been
very
in
much.
there.
Nobody buys
do
this
not
whole
know what
gremlin
you're
on my
doing.
mind thing.
I had
You
gremlins.
are-
You look out the wing of a plane and you see a gremlin taking your engine apart. What are you going to do? I belly
Gremlins
flopped.
and
I
witches.
belly flopped a 737 in the desert and saved the lives. And this is something you won't give me credit for, I'm sure, Ellen. I saved the lives of 67 people because I looked out on that wing and I saw a gremlin taking the engine apart. I did the only thing I could do: land it in the desert.
You know why? You got
look, you want-
fantasies.
you don't wanna
got
give me that-
you
What
got
do you mean
hallucinating.
you
You're
saw a gremlin?
hallucinating.
What is that, a Twilight Zone episode?
They got that from me. I went.
Okay, 1-800-44...
What, now you're going to hang up on me. See, this is what they told me. They said they wouldn't give me my license because they said I was nuts. And the reason why they said I was nuts is because they don't want the truth. I used to keep an extra pair of pants in the cockpit to change into after landing because I crap my pants each landing, Ellen. And I would suggest the same for you.
What a sick guy. What a sicko.
Yeah, he's mental.
Hey, pal, you're a sicko.
Just get another pair
You're
of
an
pants.
insult
All right,
to every other pilot that we know. Every pilot. Shame on you.
1-800-449-8666,
You're an
Phil Hendry
insult.
Show.